Thank you for tuning in to 5-Star Tips, where advisors can hear time-tested methods and proven strategies that top practices are using to achieve exceptional and sustainable success. We invite you to listen, take notes, and apply these methods to your practice today to generate better results tomorrow. Your host, Ken Unger, is the founder of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. Ken is the industry's leading coach and trainer for mid to high-level financial advisors with almost 40 years of industry experience. Ken has trained more high-level success stories than any other coach. Ken is a thought leader for advisors who are looking to grow and run the industry's top client-centric practices. If you are ready to take your practice to the next level, stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to the 5-Star Tips podcast. My name is Ken Unger, and I'm the CEO and leader of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. As all of you know listening, we partner with the industry's best advisors, and today you are in for a real treat. I have the sensational and amazing Pam Dumonceau with us. Pam is remarkable at minimal. I mean, she's like, this lady is one of the great success stories of our industry. I've had the good fortune of Pam being in our exclusive coaching program for over 15 years and having a front row seat. You know, I hear a lot of talk about people wanting to, the new phrase I hear being thrown around is 10X. Pam has grown her business over 10X. Here's a lady who's taken her business to a multi-million-dollar level. She's done everything that's on your wish list of what you want to do. Imagine if you ran one of the best and most impressive practices in the country. Well, Pam does. Pam is about as intelligent as anyone I've found in the business. She's consistently committed to lifetime learning and improving herself. And as a result, she is one of the few advisors that we consider amongst the elite of elite in our business. With that, Pam, welcome. Welcome to our webinar, or rather our podcast.
Ken. Thank you, Ken. It's just such an honor to be part of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. And I really can say that I owe all of my success to the Academy. I have done a lot of other seminars and workshops and classes, and they've all been helpful. But the Academy put it all together in a way that it's profitable and fun.
Well, let's roll this back, Pam. When we first met, what did your business look like 15 years ago? Here you are, Pam Dumonceau, starting out, really, smart lady, understood the business. Can you tell me a little bit about what your firm looked like?
Well, I wish I could have been a quicker study because I wasn't brand new. I'd actually already been in the business 8 years, and my production was about $175,000 a year. I was borrowing staff from my colleagues. I did so little production that they basically just loaned me their staff time, didn't even make me pay for it because it didn't amount to much. And here we are 15 years later. I'm at $1.7 million of personal revenue, and that excludes those folks that I was borrowing staff from that now have become partners. But one of the fun things, if you remember, Ken, the very first day in your program, I said, well, everybody else in the room wants to double their production, but that seems like an unreasonable goal because I want goals to be smart and measurable, achievable, rememberable, and time-bound. And so I made a rememberable goal of $1,000 a day. My motto was 365 or bust. $365,000 a year of income or bust. And I did that in the first 2 years. Doubled my production, and I didn't bust.
It's funny you say that. I've got in my office a shirt you sent to our entire team here. You sent us all a version of a workout shirt. You said, as you work out, please wear this shirt. Because remember, for the 365 days there aren't a year, Pam Dumonceau would like to do $1,000 of business each day. So our goal for 2006 is 365 or bust. And I keep that because I know, as you said, you're part of a multi-million dollar team now that's got exciting things going on, but you personally bring in 1.7 million. So we're way past that 365 or bust.
Exactly. It's fun now. It's fun too. The last couple of years, my revenue's grown about 13 to 14% a year. And so for several years, it was still, tough going from 365 to 500 to 800 to a million. Million is a really unique plateau. I watch it with lots of people. But the last few years, it's been 13 or 14% a year. And as we all know, because we're financial advisors, right? A percentage of a bigger number is a bigger number. So it's good.
Well, and Pam, one of the most powerful things that I get to watch is someone like yourself who puts together a core strategy of things, not just one thing, but many systems, as we like to say, that build a business like yours. So if you can, dial me back a little bit and tell me, what are some of the systems that you've implemented along the way that you think have helped elevate you to this top producer status?
Well, as I think about what the Academy has taught me that really I've never learned anywhere else, is actually really maybe sales training 101, because I've learned a 2-meeting close. Meet a potential client, figure out what's going on in their situation, meet them again and close them. And I just closed an $8 million case in 2 meetings. And, you really have to be efficient with your time in this profession. There's just so many draws on your time. That, I think, is the one unique thing that I learned from the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors.
Pam, I'm sure in closing that case, we talk about partnering with the industry's best. Our mantra is always put clients first, and I know you do too. But I also know you have an extraordinary list abilities and things that you can do. So I'm sure, like you talked about this $8 million case, I'd be willing to guarantee that you use tax planning as one of the proactive services that separated you from other advisors. Can you tell us?
Absolutely. That would be second on my list. You asked me for the one thing. So the second thing on my list is taxes are my differentiator. Clients are tired of the braggadocio our profession feeds them about my portfolio is better than your portfolio, because they know no one's got a corner on all the good ideas. But very few people in our profession talk to them about something they really hate, which is paying taxes. And they perk up when you can discuss a plan to reduce their taxes. And so I learned half a dozen strategies that I can glean tax savings in quickly. And I'm talking about strategies that are beyond harvesting gain losses, because a robot can do that. And so people really appreciate it. Even if you can't save them taxes, which oftentimes I can because of the things I learned through the Academy, but even if I can't, they really like that somebody's trying to think about how to save them taxes. And they know that new tax law will come down the pike someday, and at least they know that we're in an elite group of advisors who understand taxes and how important it is to save taxes.
So that's powerful, Pam. You could say as a result of your tax law knowledge, you definitely separate yourself and set yourself aside from other advisors. Tell me some of the other things. What are some of the other things that you've done over the years that have helped you grow and become a top producer?
Well, I would say that the Academy for Preferred Advisors has about a dozen things that one wants to implement. And you'd like it if I would be able to spit out yet another idea that's really it. But truly, I don't say this lightly, the program is more than the sum of its parts. And when you implement all the pieces together, it's as if you own a machine that spits out qualified prospects. And each piece has merit, no doubt. Every single piece is more than if you don't do it. But when you put the whole synergy of all of it together, that just makes an easy program to implement and maintain. And there's a constant stream of potential clients, and it just really becomes fun. It becomes fun again to be in this business.
Pam, that's very insightful. In fact, something that you and I always tease about and we talk about in front of the group is, in this business, how you discuss things with clients, your words, so to speak, can dictate your success. Can you share with us some of the power phrases that you use when you sit with $1 million clients all the time? What are some of the power phrases that you use? Some of the things that really kind of turn the table for you?
Well, I think one of the phrases is back to that concept that they're tired of the braggadocio of my portfolio is better than some other person's portfolio. So there's a phrase that investments are a matter of opinion, but taxes are a matter of fact. And I can demonstrate to you, Mr. Client, Mr. Potential Client, that I can save you X amount of dollars per year. That's a fact that they can hang their hat on. So that's one phrase. Investments are a matter of opinion, taxes are a matter of fact. You just really have their attention when you use that phrase. Another one I think that's really helpful is don't gross me, net me. So again, back to, well, you might be making a lot of money, but how much money is it costing you to have that portfolio and maintain it? And how much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you netting? Don't gross me, net me. Those are a couple of phrases. There's another one, too, that works really well. You know, hey, I'm just here to educate you. You know, I can only lead you to the water. I can't make you drink it. If you don't want to do the program that I'm suggesting, that's okay. I just, as a fiduciary, want to know that I led you to the water, and then you can decide if you want to drink it.
You know, Pam, one of the things I've always respected about you is you're not just a brilliant advisor, but you also understand how to position your services. And as you just showed and shared, I think one of your great strengths is you can sit down there with someone who's accumulated large amounts of money, and you can easily position your services, which I think are great, better than anyone else. Let's change topics for a minute and talk a little bit about referral generation. You know, I've heard and I've discussed now, we've had several people like yourself on great success stories who chuckle when I say, there are articles now suggesting that referrals are dead. There's, no way to really get referrals. Everybody's looking for referrals, and it just doesn't work anymore. You know how I feel about that, Pam. I feel that most advisors don't deserve referrals and therefore don't get them. That's when they answer these surveys, they're telling the truth. They don't get referrals. How about you, Pam? Do you get referrals?
I get a constant stream of referrals, and actually it's been a learning process on my part to hone that stream so that I get referrals in the real sweet spot where I know I can really be value added and make a big difference in that potential client's life. Because I could just have referrals that would fill up my calendar all day, every day. And, and I don't want those because I want to work both hard and smart, more smart than hard, let's be honest. But by doing all the things that you guys have taught me to do, and Ken, I'm not really doing anything all that creative. I do everything that you guys tell me to do, and it works. It's as if I have a referral generating machine in my office because the machine has a life of its own, and it spits out potential clients, and I meet with them and have a great time. I close almost all of them. I have a really great high closing ratio. So yeah, referrals they're definitely not dead. If you have this whole system, and the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors has a whole system. Like I said, each piece has merit, but when you put that whole system together, it's a well-oiled machine that creates potential clients just naturally and easily and with fun. I'm all about fun and ease.
Well, Pam, and I know that you are about fun and ease, but you also have very comfortable points of entry into your business, so it's comfortable for someone to refer in. One of the things I know about your business is you have a superior service menu, like our other members, and you service clients regularly. So here you got repeatable services that you're offering in a very high level. You stay very focused, and you've created that referral culture where, I can't imagine why a client wouldn't be excited about not only meeting with you, but encouraging their friends. So you've got this thriving business, Pam. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of your other successful ventures? What are some of the other things you're doing? I know you hold events. Tell us a little bit about, what it's like to be a client of Pam's.
Well, something you just said made me think about being referable is a phrase that you've taught me, Ken. And I think that, again, when you follow your, let's call it dozen systems that the Academy has, you become referable. But you were telling me just now that I do a great job of servicing clients, and I was thinking about, we aspire to be better than your doctor's office. And I don't do very much, really. To use a doctor analogy, my mid-levels do everything, except that I'm prepared for the meeting. And so, we really aspire to be better than your doctor's office. When you walk into your doctor's office and they ask you questions that are in the file, that is not good enough to me. To me, I need to be really on top of knowing this client, knowing what their issues are, what are we going to present today, what do we need to talk about, what's on their mind. So in a sense, maybe I'm thinking about this just today, that maybe what we really ought to aspire to be is more like a dental office, because a dental office meets with you regularly. If you have a little problem in your mouth and you're going to see your dentist next month, you just hold it till then. You don't have to call in an emergency, but you know that if you have an emergency, the door is open, you can call any time. You know that by seeing your dentist regularly, you're going to maintain your oral health. And so I think that we really, as a profession, ought to try to model not so much after the doctor's office, but the dental office. I think they've really got it figured out. And, you see your dentist so regularly that if you do know somebody that's not happy with their dentist, it's easy to just mention, well, I like my dentist, why don't you go try them? So that's what I've been thinking about recently, is trying to model after the dentist's office, because it's a well-oiled machine. The doctor's office, not quite as administratively clean and efficient.
Well, and I think, Pam, what you're trying to say is basically you want to model after the higher level professionals in people's lives. And one of the things I respect about you is when a client comes in, whether it's a client or even a prospect, they're going to get an honest and high level conversation. And that conversation is going to start with trust, sincerity, and substance, because that's what you bring, Pam. You bring substance to every conversation. But I also know that the way you run your office is very intentional. You've got a team, and you talked a little bit about it. I know we met some of those team members. They come to the meetings, and they have focused roles. Can you tell me a little bit about, you've built out, you said you first used to have staff that you loaned out, so to speak. You borrowed other people's staff. Well, now you've got a great team. Tell me a little bit about teamwork and how that plays into your success.
Well, if I'm allowed to, I'm going to stay on that dental analogy for a moment, because again, I don't think less of my dentist when he has the hygienist do all the pre-work, and then the hygienist says, okay, there's a problem with number one. He opens the file right up. He sees what's going on with number one tooth. I don't think less of him when I ask a question of the hygienist first, and then she filters it through and either answers my question or elevates it to the dentist. And so, if you will, I think of myself as the dentist, and then I've got this team. And I think of my dentist's office as a team. I wouldn't call my dentist and ask him to make an appointment for me. I wouldn't call my dentist and ask him, well, gee, this seems to be a problem. Should I come in right away, or could it wait for a few weeks? So I do have a team now. I have 3 other colleagues that are other professionals, if you will. We have 8 support staff. I personally only have 2 direct reports, and then the rest of the support staff reports to those direct reports, because I've found, first of all, that I'm out of the office a lot because I'm out having fun and ease, but also I'm not that great at managing people. I'm a financial advisor, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a hard worker, and so I'm just not that great at managing people. So I've got 2 amazing direct reports, and then they manage the whole office and keep it running and keep it moving, and they elevate things to me when it needs to come to me. Otherwise, honestly, sometimes I don't even know about it. They just take care of it.
Pam, I'm not going to let you off that quick, and I'm going to say you are good at managing people, but you're also real efficient and smart. And I know you're the kind of person who wants balance in your life, so therefore you utilize and allow people. You know, you're the kind of person that I'd enjoy working for because you allow people to do their job like you do with Kara. Let's talk a little bit about workload, Pam. Like, you know, one of the things you and I always discussed over the years is, you know, you've always wanted a balance in your life. So tell me a little bit about like when you first started and what your workload is now. Like, what does it look like a year in the life of Pam from a big picture, high level standpoint? Do you get time to do fun things?
I do a lot of fun things. I have two teenage boys. I have a sweetie that lives 90 minutes away, so I spend a lot of time in the mountains of Colorado. Let's see, work-life balance. Well, I just don't think it's rocket science to tell someone to work harder, and that's never what you've done. You've always told me, here's a smarter way to do it. Here's a more time-efficient way to do it, not tax. Time-efficient way to do it. Here's something that will produce results. Here's something that won't produce results. Pam, that's a harebrained idea. Why are you bringing it to me? So, you know, we've together, you and I kind of partnered for 15 years now to be in that sweet spot of not working so hard that I can't enjoy the fruits of this labor. Now, when I started, I was truly working a solid 4 days a week, and I was probably out networking 2 to 3 nights a week. That's when I first started. Now I think I probably average in the office 3 days a week, no nights, no networking, don't need to anymore. In terms of my staff, I treat staff like volunteers. If you've ever managed volunteers, you just have no leverage over them, really. And I guess I don't know any other way to do it because I think human beings, come the end of the day, they like money, they like salary, they like bonuses, but their intrinsic motivation is what really causes them to work hard. And once in a while, my team has to give blood. I don't ask them to give blood often, and of course I mean metaphorically, but once in a while, you know, we're in those bubble times and they've just got to really kick it in high gear. So, you know, a lot of my team, I think it motivates them to talk about how we helped this woman who has just been widowed, and she was about to make a big mistake with her finances, and we saved her from doing that. And we saved her X amount of dollars in taxes because she was going to have a problem, and she doesn't know who else to turn to. And so, you know, I try to make this business very personal in that way because I think that's what engages a lot of my team members. They feel like they're doing something beyond just going to work, making money, making other people money, making rich people money, because some of my team does so well that they have more money than some of our clients. But, you know, let's face it, most of our clients have more money than our team does. So, you know, we have to make it something a little more noble, let's say, than just making people money, saving them taxes, and making them richer. I don't know if that helps, Ken.
That sure does, Pam. And you know, it's funny. I bet you if I asked your clients what's Pam's greatest strength, they'd probably come back and tell me something like Pam's brilliant, which I know you are. But you know what I've discovered over the 15 plus years that I know you? One of your greatest strengths, Pam, is you're decisive. You're willing to make decisions. I know you're also a great mom who wants the best for others. You want it for your clients and you want it for your team members. And you also want to enjoy this work-life balance. So I think one of the things that you're very good at, Pam, is I know over the many discussions we've had each and every year in the program, you're willing to make some decisions and say, okay, I'm going to decide to do this. I'll move forward in this way. And you're always connecting all the pieces, which I think is just that great vision that you bring to the business. You connect all the pieces, say, this is what I'm going to do, and then you move forward with strength. Can I ask you, Pam, then, what were some of the things you say, you know, you're talking about being efficient, you're running this thriving business, but I think one of the ways we learn is also from things that people might have done wrong or see others do wrong. What would you say is a big time waster? If you were talking to others and say, here's a big time waster to avoid in our business, which there are plenty of them, what would you say?
Well, I think it's important to keep in mind, and it's true, I'm very, very focused. A lot of my friends say that once I'm on my rail, you can't derail me. I'm also very pragmatic. And there are a lot of things that might feel good, but come the end of the day, they don't create any results. I'm kind of stumped on what others do that can be big time wasters, because I've also really always been the philosophy of study people who are having success and doing things right. So, in the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, we get to see the best practices of the best practices. And so I've never really had a complete flop myself, but I think if I were going to share one thing that I feel like was kind of a flop, I personally don't golf, but I was able to put together a very high-end, really great golf outing. We're here in Colorado. There's a big swanky golf club here in Parker, Colorado, and I was able to put that together through personal connections. And yet I don't personally golf, and so I just couldn't get really enthusiastic about it. My follow-up wasn't very good. So I think you do have to still take responsibility as a business person to take those best practices of the best practices and then make them your own. If you can't make them your own, I don't think they're going to be as successful. Just because Joe says that he's had great success, opened 12 cases this year on the golf course, I don't golf. It just didn't work that well for me. It wasn't a total flop, but it didn't work that well.
Well, and Pam, you brought up something interesting, which is, I believe in surrounding yourself with other successful people. And, success is not only contagious, but it becomes part of the group that you're in. Can you share with listeners here who aren't familiar, how do you find the quality of the people that are at the Academy and some of your peers, some of the people you've sat with at this program?
I really do mean it, that I get to learn the best practices of the best practices. These are people that, God forbid, should something happen to me, I would want my family to land with. And I feel that way about every single individual, and every single individual brings different perspectives on this business. One thing that's really great about this profession is there's room for a lot of different styles and a lot of different personalities. But I try to keep my mouth closed when I'm at the meetings and listen, okay? And then, like you said, Ken, I am good at listening to ideas, distilling them into something that I feel like I can use. Or maybe I just store them first. Okay, I like that idea, but I can't implement it this year. It's just not practical for me, but I'm not going to let go of it. So it's a bank of ideas of wildly successful people. So anything that they tell you they're doing is probably going to work. Now the question is, can you implement it? How are you going to implement it? How do you tweak it to make it your own? But I'm just surrounded by professionals that I am very proud to be associated with. It truly is an academy beyond just a marketing course. And like I said when we just started, I've taken a lot of classes. I've sharpened my saw in a lot of other areas, but the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors is both what to do and how to do it. And as the world changes, I get new information there that's packaged in a way I can grab it quickly and use it tomorrow.
Well, Pam, and I thank you for your kind words, but I just want you to know, and I hope you already know this, but you're a fan favorite in that room because you not only have simplified and systematized your business and your life, but you share it very well. And there are so many people that have been with us for that entire duration or new ones that have joined that constantly tell me, well, I love that Pam Dumonceau. She's smart, but she's also real. She'll sit there and tell you this works, this doesn't work. And one of the things I love about you, Pam, is you'll not only put clients first, but you'll be real with them. You'll have that honest and high-level conversation that shares what can and can't happen, whether it's in your business. I think you're just as real with your clients as you are with your business. So that's something we applaud you for here at the Academy. Pam, what advice would you give to others to grow a practice like yours? I mean, what would you tell people? Some people tell me, well, you've invested time, you've invested money into putting clients first and building a practice. What would you share with others if they want to build a wildly successful practice like yours?
Well, you kind of reminded me, I'm often asked, what's the secret sauce to your success, or, what advice can you give to others? And I'm especially asked, well, what about as a woman in this profession? What other advice can you give to women? And I just think about how blessed I am to have found you guys, and then I was smart enough to do everything you told me to do. And really, over the last 15 years, I just put one foot in front of the other. But I will say that I always put the client's interests first. When this whole conversation about fiduciary came up, I didn't have to do any soul searching because I was already acting as a fiduciary my whole career. I guess I just feel like I have to use the brother or sister model. And that's another phrase, by the way, that I use a lot. I don't know if it works or not. We should ask my clients, but I always say to them, if you were my sister, this is what I would do. If you were my brother, I believe this is in your best interest. And so putting clients first also makes me pretty referable because people know that I'm not just asking them for referrals because I want to grow my business. I want to meet people I can help. And I always assure clients that I'll take great care of them and I'll give them objective advice. Sometimes it's not even what they want to hear, but it's in their best interest to hear it. Yeah.
And Pam, that's all people really want. They want a high-level conversation that's filled with honesty, sincerity, and substance. And I love the fact that you personalize it. Quite frankly, that's why I cherish the relationship I've had with you and the other members. That's why I love talking to you, Pam. Because we do have high-level conversations. We talk about the business. We don't talk about drilling down into every single granular detail, but we talk more about strategically where it's going. And then we fill it in, we backfill it with tactics and details. But we have that honest, high-level conversation that is the same one you give your clients. It's full of sincerity. Here's what I want to do, and here's how I think I could best do it. It's full of trust. It's full of substance. And it's always thinking about, how do I put others first? You know the funny thing, Pam? You've spent a lifetime, at least the lifetime I've watched, putting others first, and you've done so well for yourself. I mean, I just find that remarkable, Pam. I love when the good person wins.
Well, yes, I do. I put my client's interests first, and as a byproduct, I have been very financially blessed beyond my wildest dreams, beyond anything I could have possibly imagined, coming from very modest beginnings with a degree in psychology, and with that plus $3, I could buy a coffee at Starbucks. So yeah, I just never would have thought I would be here, but it always came from honestly putting clients' interests first, and that just makes me referable. And I don't have to think about, what lie did I tell them, or how did I spin that, or I don't have to think about that. No, it does so happen I'm an only child, but I still use that. If you were my brother, if you were my sister, that's just my litmus test. But the other advice I would tell people, and I really earnestly mean this, Ken, I wouldn't be where I am without the Academy. And so I would say, people, I know it's a big financial commitment. It seems like a big financial commitment. Are you going to get a return on investment? Well, I went from $175,000 a year, which was a very nice living wage, to $1.7 million a year. I can afford any tuition that the Academy charges me. I would tell people, join the Academy, do what they tell you to do, try everything exactly as they tell you for at least 2 years, and then you'll have the success and the cash flow to go slightly off plan if you want to.
Well, Pam, I got to say, over the years, one of the things you've always underestimated your brilliance, which you are, as you usually do. But I have so much respect for the fact that, you understand that it's the quality of your work, not the quantity, that really makes a difference. You're also a great lifetime learner who we're very fortunate has spent many years and continues to spend many years learning with us. So I thank you, Pam. I mean, I appreciate you doing this podcast so that you can give back to others and share with them your success. You certainly are. You're on a lot of lists, Pam. You're always up there for, top female advisor, top advisor, period. However you want to measure your success, you certainly are always, in any room you walk in, one of the more successful people. And that's by intent. That's because of all your hard work, your brilliance, and your focus, Pam. I've watched, the compounding of that focus over the years. So I thank you for sharing time with us today. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share with our listeners.
Well, Ken, you just said the words give back, and I want you to be proud of what you've done through me, because you have leveraged me. I've been able to touch so many more people than I would have been able to otherwise, because yes, I'm focused and I work hard and I'm smart and all that stuff. Thank you for saying all of that. But you can have the best product in the world, and if you don't have a steady stream of new potential clients, you don't have anybody to give it to. So you can be really proud of how you've leveraged yourself, Ken, through me. Together, we've touched literally hundreds of families.
Well, I thank you, Pam, because something, my dad always would tell me growing up, if you can make a difference in people's lives, you'll live a complete life. It was never about money in our family growing up. And like you, I grew up with very modest means. But I felt my dad had a wealth way beyond coins and capital, because he made a difference in people's lives. And just hearing that, you made my day. I'm sure you make a lot of listeners' days. And I thank you, Pam. I thank you for all you do for our industry. It's because of people like you that many people are retiring comfortably, sending grandkids and children to college, living a complete and healthier life. And on behalf of all clients, advisors, and everyone in our industry, I thank you for the difference you make, Pam.
And thank you, Ken. It's just been a great partnership, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Well, we're going to keep that next chapter, Pam, because you and I both have a lot of time left to go. So, Pam, I thank you so much for sharing your insights today. With that, this is Ken Unger, leader of the Academy.
And Pam Dumonceau.
Pam Dumonceau for the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors today. We thank you for listening and hope that if you like 5-star tips today, give us a 5-star review, refer us to your friends, and let's get that word out. Let's have more and more success stories. Let's have more and more people hear about how top producers with positive attitudes like Pam Dumonceau can make a difference in your life. Pam, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Star Tips. For show notes, please visit www.theapfa.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to sign up for our email list. For more information on the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, please visit our website at www.theapfa.com. That's www.theapfa.com. Or give us a call at 866-866-0472 with any questions you may have.